Hello friends, welcome to another video in the series of lectures under the title History of English Literature. In today's video, I will be talking about the age of Chaucer. This age was also known as the age of the age of alliterative revival, and this age starts in 1350 and continues up to 1450. Now, there are some political events which are important to discuss here. They are, the first one is the Statute of Pleading. The Statute of Pleading was signed in 1362, and henceforth all the proceedings in the law courts had been signed in English instead of French. So previously, during Anglo-Norman age, we have seen the French language was the official language. Then after this Statute of Pleading in 1362, all those official things were signed in English only. The next important political event was Plague or Black Death, which occurred during 1348 to 49, and it reappeared in 1362, 1367 and 1370. During this Black Death, or otherwise called plague, almost 60% of England's population was swept. Then increased in that led to the increase of taxation and workload also. And the next important event is the Peasants' Revolt, which happened in 1381. What was the reason? Reason was Black Death and 100 Years' War. 100 Years' War we have already seen in my previous video. It started in 1337. So because of the 100 Years' War and the Black Death, the taxation increased, and that was the reason of Peasants' Revolt. This Peasant Revolt was also known as Wat Tyler Rebellion and the Great Rising. It was inspired by John Ball's sermons, and it was led by Wat Tyler's leadership. Now we come to the literary section of this age, and as the name of this age suggests, it is named after the great literary figure Geoffrey Chaucer. That's why it is called the Age of Chaucer. Geoffrey Chaucer was born in 1340 and he died in 1400. He is also called the father of English poetry. This term was first used for him by John Dryden. And he is called the morning star of Renaissance by Edward Albert. He is the earliest of the great moderns. This is also called by Edward Albert. He, in his personal life, he joined English army and participated in the 100 Years' War. He was captured by the French army, but then after some time released with the heavy penalty of 16 pounds. 16 pound was actually a big amount in the time when Chaucer was living. So we can understand how influential character he was to the king, that he was released by the king by giving 16 pound to the opposition army, because a member this happened only because he was a member in King Edward the Third's court. And later he married Philippa in 1366, and during his lifetime he traveled a lot throughout his life. And his literary career is divided into three phases: French phase, Italian phase and the English phase. In the French phase comes Roman of the Rose. It was written in octosyllabic couplet and is based on French work Le Roman de la Rose by Guillaume de Loris and Jean de Meung. So this is a kind of adaptation from the French work Roman de la Rose or Roman of the Rose. The next book is the Book of the Duchess. It is also known as The Death of Blanche, another octosyllabic couplet poem which was written on the death of John of Gaunt's wife Blanche or Lancaster. It was the first narrative poem and it is written in dream allegorical mode. Another poem is The Complaint unto Pitt. It is a love poem. And some other works are also there which come under French phase. They are An ABC. This poem is a prayer to Virgin Mary, The Complaint of Mars. This is another poem. So far in the French phase, the important works are Romaunt of the Rose, The Book of the Duchess, The Complaint unto White, and ABC, The Complaint of Mars. Now let's come to the Italian phase of Geoffrey Chaucer's career. As we have said, he traveled a lot during his lifetime. That's why the Italian influences, the French influences all come into his writing. In the Italian phase, he traveled to Italy during 1370 to 1372. And during this time, the Italian influences are to be seen in his writing. And Renaissance at that time had already started in Italy during 1370 and 1372. And the important poem of this phase is Troilus and Cressidi. It is a poem of 8,000 lines and it is considered his best narrative poem. It is written in rhyme royal stanza, the specific stanza in which Chaucer used to write. The rhyme scheme is ABAB BCC, which was later adopted by several writers. And this book Troilus and Cressida is based on Boccaccio's Decameron and it is dedicated to John Gower. And some critics consider this poem to be the first novel in English because it has some novelistic narrative qualities. And the next poem is Parliament of Fowls. It talks about Saint Valentine and it is influenced by Boccaccio and Dante, two writers. These two writers were from Italy. And the next poem is House of Fame. It is an unfinished poem written in octosyllabic couplet. And again, the dream allegory mode is used. In his dream, he was carried by an eagle to the temple of Venice, and it is influenced by Dante's Divine Comedy, the popular work. Next poem is Legend of Good Women. It is an unfinished love poem. It talks about mythological legendary women like Cleopatra, Medea, Lucrece, et al. It is intended to tell 19 tales, but finished only 8 and 1 unfinished. First known attempt in heroic couplet. Which one? The Legend of Good Woman. This is the first known attempt in heroic couplet. And what is a heroic couplet? Heroic couplet is iambic pentameter with a rhyme at the end. So rhyming iambic pentameter. And another poem is Annelida and Arcite. So in the Italian phase we have these poems and they are called Troilus and Cressidi, Parliament of Fowls, Legend of Good Women, and Annelida and Arcite. So far as the English phase is concerned, the best known work of Geoffrey Chaucer comes in this phase, that is the Canterbury Tales. It was written between 1387 to 1400 and it is a story of 29 pilgrims. It is a collection of stories told by 29 pilgrims including Chaucer. And all these characters are carefully chosen characters of both gender and of all ranks of the contemporary society. And the scheme of the work and a glimpse of the characters are available in the masterly prologue which was added to the main work. So a prologue is added to all the tales in the book. So what is the plan of the work is that all 29 pilgrims will meet in the Tabardine, and in order to go to the tomb of Thomas Becket, and they propose that they will be telling 2 stories on the onward journey and 2 stories on the return journey. Each person will tell 4 stories so that the journey does not get boring or monotonous. Harry Bailey was the innkeeper, and she suggests to tell the stories. And they visit to Thomas Becket's tomb in Canterbury and proposes to tell 4 stories, as I have already mentioned, 2 during onward and 2 during return journey. And there are several interesting stories such as the Knight's Tale. It is the first and the first person first this is the first one, and the last tale is the Person's Tale, a tale of Melibuse, one of the tales. It is written by Chaucer, and the Person's Tale, these two tales are written in prose, and all the other tales are written in poetry only. And 20 finished and 4 unfinished stories we have so far in this book. It is his last poem, it is in his poetical career, and different types of characters are shown, but Chaucer depicted the clergy as the most corrupt. So, as was the situation with the churches in the contemporary situation, it was believed that the church people were most corrupt. So, it was seen in this book similarly. And Wife of Bath is one tale in which immoral character, she has been shown as an immoral character with 5 husbands. Chaucer made this character the mouthpiece to say many bold things about the contemporary society. She said that she already had 4 husbands and she was preparing for the 5th. So these things cannot be said easily in front of anybody and everybody. So Chaucer made this character speak boldly. Another character is Parson. He is depicted as a good character who lives the life of a good Christian. So this is one ideal character which has been depicted by Geoffrey Chaucer. Other shorter poems of the English phase are The Lack of Steadfastness and the seriocomic complaint of Chaucer to his empty purse. So, in this English phase, we have the Canterbury Tales, The Lack of Steadfastness, and the seriocomic poem Complaint of Chaucer to his empty purse. Chaucer died in 1400 and his tomb was shifted to Poets' Corner in Westminster Abbey in 1566. So he was the first English poet to be buried there. Now, so far as the characterization in Chaucer's poems is concerned, characters are not only individuals but types also. For example, the merchant. He has been depicted as a rich man with several love affairs. So he is a character of individual as well as type, suggesting how the merchants are in a society. Rationality instead of religious sentiment is the guiding force of his characterization. So he was very rational about characterizing his characters, and this is the quality of a modern writer. That's why he has been called the earliest of the great moderns by Edward Albert. And there is a good humor in Chaucer's works also. Chaucer's humor is not monotonous but various. Different characters show different types of humors, although written by the same person, Geoffrey Chaucer, but the characters show different humors. Sometimes they are kindly and patronizing, like the character the Clerk of Oxenford. Sometimes some characters are broad and semi-farcical, like the character of Wife of Bath, the bold character, as we have earlier mentioned. Some characters are satirical, like the Pardoner and the Summoner. Some coarse humor is also there in the Tales of Miller, the Reeve of the Clock. And but one thing is common in all the humor is that the satire towards the society. And Chaucer wrote in East Midland dialect, and the other poets of this age, the age of Chaucer, are John Gower, William Langland. John Gower was born in 1322 and died in 1408. He was a critic of clergy. He was a vehement critic of the clergy, like Chaucer. Chaucer was indirect about his criticism towards the clergy people, but John Gower directly criticized the clergy. His important works are Speculum Meditantis, it was written in French; Vox Clamantis, it was written in Latin; and Confessio Amantis, it was written in English. The Speculum Meditatis, this poem has been discovered in very lately in 1895. In the meantime, it was lost. It was very lately discovered. And Confessio Amantis, the English one, this poem was written at the king's order, as Gower himself stated later on. And William Langland, his important work is The Vision of William Concerning Piers the Plowman. It is concerned with social equality and dignity of men, and it is the poet's vision of the Malvern Hills. It portrays terrible hardships in the life of a peasant. So it is a kind of a common people's work. It talks about all types of crime which were prevailing at that time. So this is the poetry of the age of Chaucer. We have seen Geoffrey Chaucer, the highest literary figure of this age, and the other two poets, William Langland and John Gower. So far as the prose of this age is concerned, we have already mentioned that Geoffrey Chaucer wrote some pieces in prose. They are Tale of Melibuse and The Person's Tale, which is included in the Canterbury Tales, which is actually a piece of poetry, but these two tales are written in prose. Another writer was John Wycliffe, and his important work is he has translated the Bible in his Gospels in easy English, so that it can reach the common people. His translation made it possible for the common people of England to access the Bible. Otherwise, they could not access the original Bible. And he was a harsh critic of the Roman Catholic Church, and he made good contribution through his Gospels in Lollard movements also. Another writer is Thomas Malory. His important work is Les Mortes d'Arthur, and it is a compilation of the French Arthurian romances. It is a skillful blend of dialogue and narrative, and this is to be seen in his work Les Mortes d'Arthur. And Malory's winning style has a transparent clarity and poetic sensitivity, which makes him the first great individual prose stylist. And so this is the style of Malory. And another writer is Sir John Mandeville, and Mandeville's Travels is a famous work, the only famous work of John Mandeville. It is a book of travels between 1357 to 1371, and it was originally written in French actually, and translated into several languages including English. So this is the prose of the age of Chaucer. So there were three main prose writers. They were John Wycliffe, Thomas Malory, and John Mandeville. And after these three important writers, we have Geoffrey Chaucer's few pieces also, which are written in prose, although he was actually a poet. So if we sum up this, what we have talked about in this video, it is some political things that happened during this age are the Statute of Pleading, Plague or Black Death, and the Peasants' Revolt. And then we have talked about Geoffrey Chaucer's life and works, and his career is divided into three phases: French, Italian, and English. And his most important work is the Canterbury Tales. Then we went through some other important poets like William Langland and John Gower. Then we have seen the prose writers John Wycliffe, Thomas Malory, and John Mandeville, and Geoffrey Chaucer also. Thank you for listening.